February, March 29th, and if you did not get that joke, you shouldn't be watching this video. I made this video specifically because of the fact that I hate first-person shooters. Why? Because I suck at them. So I wanted to figure out why do I suck at first-person shooters and why are some people so freaking good at them. So I did a little research and found out why exactly some people are good and so why some people like myself suck at them. I specifically researched the parts of the brain that actually would affect you in a first-person shooter and why they would. Let's go over the 4 parts of the cerebrum. First of all is the frontal lobe, which includes planning, reasoning, parts of speech, movement, problem solving, and emotions. I never actually looked up how to pronounce most of these, so bear with me. Next we have the parietal lobes, which includes orientated movement, recognizing things, and perception of stimuli. Then there's the occipital lobe, which pretty much is visual processing, and that's about it. Then there's the temporal lobe, which pretty much includes perception of audio stimuli, memory, and speech. So I made a step-by-step chart explaining sequentially which part of the brain is used to play a first-person shooter. I apologize for this scene, but it appears as though some scenes are lost in exportation. We now have the occipital lobes and also the temporal lobes, which pretty much encode visual and audio. This then triggers memory centers of the brain, the hippocampus, the amygdala, and also the temporal lobes. Although I didn't exactly research this, notice the temporal lobes are also used in encoding audio, which would make sense why we jump when we hear things suddenly, not when we see things suddenly. After you've pretty much had the whole stage memorized, which I've in fact has found quite useful for playing a first-person shooter. The part of the brain now used is the frontal lobes, or the problem-solving, planning, whatever part of the brain. You're now figuring out how you're going to kill your opponent. After this, it could be immediately handed off to the midbrain, or the reflexive part of the brain that just pretty much goes, oh, kill! Or it could go to the parietal lobes, which orientate movement, which slowly go at your opponent's head. And then immediately to the midbrain, which is a reflex. After this, it pretty much starts over. You could argue that if you're really good at the game, your frontal lobes, the planning part, could go before the memory part. But I'm pretty sure if you have the stage memorized, your memory is going to go before your planning. Unless you're so freaking good at the game you don't even have to plan, and it goes directly to the mid-game in which the whole thing is a reflex. If you're laughing at that and saying, haha, that's me, you do realize your entire body is now tuned to play a first-person shooter. That, my friend, is dedication. Now, if you really think about it, minus the reflexive part, this is actually the exact same process it really does to do math. I suppose you're not really here to do math either, though that would be really cool. Just listening. Speak to me, math. Speak to me, numbers. Far less of you are saying, haha, that's me for this part. I do find that slightly ironic, because I do find it much more useful in life to have your brain tuned towards math than first-person shooters. Whatever works for you, I guess. Now, I'm not exactly saying that just because you're good at first-person shooters means you're good at math. It should mean your brain is finely tuned and can process things quickly, which means you can calculate well. It, however, has nothing to do with your ability to learn. Which I can think of a trend of people that are first-person shooters and are slow learners, and maybe some resemblance there. I think I may have just insulted a lot of people right there. And if I really ticked you off, you can go to this address and beat the crap out of me, because that is where I live. Don't actually go in that building and start beating the crap out of people. That may or may not get you shot. So until next time, good night.